Shoot, nothing is ever quite right. I'm trying to vlog today on a different webcam, my husband's Chromebook, and the lighting setup is kind of worse. Same lamps, but moved around a little bit. So if you see me kind of doing this, it's because it bugs me when I have light in my eyes. Um, and I guess I feel this morning like uh, uh, this grumbly feeling of nothing is quite right. And of course, if you put it in the perspective of COVID-19, whether there's reflection in my glasses really does not matter. Um, you know, I hope that children are protected from knowing about uh, losses, but adults, I believe, will not have that luxury. Yesterday, someone in someone I know's family, I believe, was passing away from COVID-19. And um, they say like every few minutes people are. So it's just really frustrating and not really, that's not really the word. The lights are frustrating. I don't know if I've had time to really feel about how it's like I can intellectualize the grief. I can say, I know it's happening. Um, and I haven't had time to really be still enough. I so what's keeping me busy is doing my same kind of schedule of appointments with clients, but now on Zoom. Luckily, I did Zoom before when I was learning to get certified as a hypnotist and do past life regression. Um, but let me try without the glasses. So um, the thing is that it's exhausting to deal with setting the environment. So I already spent the last 2 years with my current job waiting to get into an office space that I could make as comfortable as I'd like it to be, so that the backdrop of appointments is um, safe. There has a safe feeling. The reason it took me that long is half of my job is spent in schools. So there's an easy argument against giving me my own office. Um, so initially I shared offices, which is worse than, I don't know. It's just, maybe I'm a big baby, or maybe I think it's, beneath me with 30 years experience, um, to not have a place to put my files, to not have a place to put my toys, to not have a place to put art up, blah, 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 blah. And then for a period of time, I was in an office that was rather small. I made do with that because at least it was mine. But I've really only had my own office for a couple of weeks, and now I'm at home. Um, anyway, back to setting up Zoom. Um, part of it is which microphone works. A lot of people are just using the microphone and speaker from the laptop, and I uh, I have trouble with that because of I've mentioned in another vlog that my hearing is my second best sense after sight. Like I need to be able to see a person's face. So, I mean, that's a whole nother tangent, is like, how much instruction do I give to a client that, like, fill up your whole screen, put your head near the top of the window, let me see your chin. Like, people are like this. you know. I can't see your mouth move. The other thing is like making eye contact. Like, so I set up the Zoom to where the shot of the person is close up to the webcam so that I'm making eye contact with them. But then I usually have to shrink it down so then I don't get as much view of their face. If I enlarge it to be speaker view where I'm just a tiny little window and they're bigger, usually they're about half of the lower half of the screen. And so I'm looking down. So they're looking at me and I don't look like I'm looking at them. I look like I'm looking down, which is actually a passive stance, a version of the eyes of not wanting to connect with somebody. So maybe it's not that big a deal, but it is. And it's just one of the things that it's, not even right now, but I have always felt like my environment in layers of ways is uncomfortable or isn't up to what I'd like to have. It's like being a perfectionist, but nowhere close to perfection ever. But I had a reframe of that from the seasonal color analysis. I'm a winter, and they are said to want to perfect things. So that means aiming towards improvement, but not expecting that there's some point where we are at perfection. So, maybe what I need to do is be in the dialectic of every moment is what it is. And if there's something that can be improved in a small way, take pleasure in that. If not, get over it. Like, I had a little kid yesterday, kind of in the frame, kind of like, like this. And I would like to ask them to do this, but I don't want to be critical. And like, I can rest then on hearing them. I don't know. I think that we are being faced with a couple things. One is uncertainty. Like, we don't know what's happening. We don't know when things are happening. We don't know when things will be over. We don't know when somebody will be touched by it. And then we're also, I think, having to become incredibly flexible. And there are places where I want to be flexible and places where I don't, and I get irritated. And I think we're all dealing with irritation and, bothering each other if we're, in quarantine or lockdown or shelter at home or in place, with other people. But, I know a few people who are at home alone, and I think I might enjoy that for a few days, but then I'd probably go stir crazy, I created a little Facebook group for female friends and family that is, just a place where we can kind of vent without it being right on our wall. I created one for my office. Was going to create one for school-based, but never got the green light on that, even though it's possible on Facebook to create a hidden private group. And then I saw somewhere a dig by one of the late night peoples, it might have been Stephen Colbert, about Facebook being so out of date. And heard from a couple kids also this new insult, you're a boomer. And by the way, I'm Generation X, not a boomer. And I have been online and on the computer since 1993. And I might use older tools like, using a headset or a mic or, whatever. But at least I'm using tools. I don't know. There's just this feeling of right now.